Hey there, guys and gals and wonderful YouTubers. Welcome, guys. And today we are going to be jumping into Space Engineers. So it has been a very long time since I actually played this game consistently. So there has been a lot of changes. I think the last time I kind of really played it was probably a couple years ago. Between that time, I kind of checked it out on and off. But not too much. Just saw some quick updates and whatnot, but never really got into the game like I did when I first played it a long time ago. So we are going to actually jump in here and play a survival game. So what we're going to do is create a new world here, do a custom world, and I haven't played with the new planets, but I want to do the planets, but I don't want to start out on the planets. So what I'm going to do is a little trick here to actually get me out in the asteroids, because when I used to play the lone survivor, which already has a platform, or asteroids, which you're starting out in space on the asteroids, and I kind of like that idea. So I want to kind of continue that, and then build up a base, and then build up a ship, and then take it out to the star systems, one of these planets, and land on the surface of either the planets or one of the moons there, and then possibly make another base. So that's what I want to do there. So there's a trick to this, and I'll show you this here. We're going to do star system because this has all the planets in there, all three of them. I think there's like an Earth-like planet, a Mars-like planet, and there's this weird alien planet. And I believe each one of those has a moon. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to take autosave off. Environment hostility, that is going to be safe. That just talks about the meteor showers. We get meteor showers. I never liked that from the beginning of this game when they first added it in. Maybe later on they'll tweak it a little bit. It just seems like the meteor showers happen a little bit too much. Maybe if they add shields in here later on, I could do that. I know there's a shield mod, but we won't do that here. We'll just leave all this like it is. Survival, obviously. No autosave. I don't like doing that. World gen. This is something pretty interesting. Gonna leave floral, medium, and infinite asteroids to low density, because they're really spread out on the planets. I tried the infinite normal density and it just seems to be a little bit too much asteroids. If you're going to go for more of an asteroid field type scenario, I would go normal or high density. But since we're doing the planets, we're going to use low density for right now. And then we're going to go into our mods here, I believe. I have a couple. I always do this letter mod. I have this in my other videos, which basically just adds letters in the game so I can name like crafts or certain platforms and whatnot. And we're going to add in the Milky Way skybox. This is a really nice skybox here. And this Raider suit. We'll show you this later on. And that's basically all the mods that I'm going to have. And you can get all these mods basically off the workshop. So if any of you guys want or needs these mods, or you guys are into it, just let me know and I'll give you a link to it. But you should be able to find these just by searching these guys here in the workshop, and you'll be able to find those right away. So we're going to jump on into advanced here. Inventory size, I always like to leave it X10 because honestly, when I get into the junkyard, I get a lot of inventory, so I like that. Assembler, realistic, welding speed, jump all this down. I might turn this refinery speed back to X3. You can always change these options later on. The reason why I want to try these out because there's modules you can add to the assembler and refinery to make them more efficient, and I actually want to try those out. So We'll see if that's going to make the refinery a little bit more efficient. Because realistically in the game right now, the refiner is really slow on just the realistic mode. So I kind of like it X3. Just makes it a little bit faster, kind of in between, but not as fast as X10, obviously. So always like welding speed, grinding speed. This is all new to me. I guess you can actually turn it up, but we'll just leave it realistic. Max objects, 56. All this is going to be pretty much defaulted. Day duration is 2 hours. I think that's my time of 2 hours it takes day. So auto healing I'm going to turn off, because basically what that does, after you take your damage over time, you'll heal by yourself, which I kind of don't like. I kind of want to go to the medical room and heal myself up, which makes that more of a thing. So all this is, we're probably going to leave default, just enable spiders. We're going to see what that does. I got the cyber hounds. I believe the spiders are on moons and stuff like that. It's a hostile thing on moons and caves. Cyber hounds, you're going to fly those down the planets. You're going to have these drones here, and these are basically NPC things, and they're related to some of the cargo ships, because right now I played through here before, and basically the cargo ships, like before you used to kidnap them and be able to hijack one of them, and basically if you survive the turrets or the booby traps, you're fine. But now the cargo ships basically will send out a distress signal, and then I guess you get these pirate drone ships that show up, and if you still are trying to hijack while these guys come up to you, I guess they kill you. So if you disable them in time, I guess those drones shut off. So it's kind of interesting. And then there's something else in here, random encounters, which that's kind of interesting too. You get random NPC pirate bases that could spawn somewhere near your base in the asteroid field, and basically they'll send out these drones every so often trying to look for you. So the game's got a lot more interesting in that factor. So we can always change this stuff later. This stuff is not permanent when you create a world. The only thing that is permanent is this world gen. So all this other advanced stuff you can tweak later on if you don't like it. So we're going to start out here. Star system, just name this start here, and I think we're ready to go here. So hopefully they're going to drop me down on the Earth here. I don't know if it's random different planets, like they might drop me on the Mars planet or drop me on the alien planet, but I assume they drop me on the Earth type planet with this scenario. So we'll see here. But it does not matter anyways. We're just going to drop down and basically commit suicide and get our new spawn ship and basically take off somewhere else. So yeah, here we are. We are on the Earth. Let's save here. This is the Earth type planet. So this is this weird cool, this is the way you start here. This is an atmospheric lander. So basically you're going to be stranded on this planet until you build another base and build a craft to actually take you out of the atmosphere, and it's got to be strong enough anyways to get out of the gravitational pull. So I kind of want to start out in space and then work my way into the planets, not start out in the planets and work my way out into the space. So this is why I do this. Right now there is no other way. I guess they should create a scenario like that. So with this one, you're going to actually have to level her out, drop her down till the speed is probably hits 0. If you don't do anything with this craft, she will crash. I've done this before. Leave your dampeners on. They're defaulted on. And this craft is pretty cool. I really like this. If you guys are familiar, some of you older people out there, guys, gals, from the 80s, there was a movie called The Explorers with these three young boys. They all had the same dream about this spacecraft, and they ended up designing it and went up to the stars and whatnot. But this kind of reminds me of the Explorer spacecraft here. It looks really nice. So basically this is just your survival craft here. So let's go on and land it somewhere. We got a few minutes before the respawn ships cycle down on their clock there, so we'll land this probably in that water over there. And the thing is, with the water in this game, it's basically you can land on top of it. It's more like ice basically. And to properly fly these atmospheric crafts, especially this one, don't think of them as an aircraft. Think of them as a helicopter and how helicopters fly. If you're familiar to the way helicopters fly, you will definitely master flying these crafts really easy. But if you think of them like a jet or whatnot, you'll end up crashing them or just losing. I just basically follow the sky like a rock. And that's what I did when I first started playing these planets with this scenario. Every time I played this, I would just drop out of the sky and crash. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try something different, and messed around with it and got familiar with it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is just like a helicopter. So I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. So just like a helicopter, you pitch up, level out to slow down, and it'll bring you to a hover. And then to speed up, you basically just pitch down just like a helicopter, and then you can control your altitude here with the C, bring it down, or the space key, just to throttle yourself down and throttle yourself up. So I'm just gonna land, actually let me land it over here. The reason why I'm going to land this and not try to destroy this is because when I come back to this planet, I could probably grab this lander and reuse it for something. So I don't want to have this as a total waste. I mean, you could just, guys, you can just crash it if you want and commit suicide that way. And start out with the respawn ship. That's perfectly fine, whatever you guys want to do. But this is what I want to do here. And I'm kind of, we got plenty of time. The more time I waste here anyways is perfectly fine, because there's a timer on the respawn ships here. Actually, let's go past this tree over here. It's a little bit more level. It usually takes about 5 minutes for us to get the respawn ship, so that's perfectly fine. So this is all not in waste here. So yeah, the planets, they look pretty awesome. I mean, the first time I played it, I think they fixed them a lot, put a lot more foliage in them, made them look a little bit more realistic. I think the first time I tried the planets, they didn't look that good, but they definitely look good now. So we'll pitch it down here. And I think we're down. We can just hit the P key and just do a lock. I don't think it locked. Okay, whatever. So we'll hit F key. Actually, you know what? Let's shut this down, because... Oh, let's actually open the doors. That's a good idea. I need to shut this down, because then I come back and there won't be any power. We'll get this door open first. And usually there's going to be some weird cyber dogs around trying to kill us. So we'll hit the Y key and that'll basically power down this craft. And that's a good idea. So we're on the planet here. So we're not staying here because we don't want to start out here. But if you guys want to start out off on the planet, this is what you do. And then you guys just find some materials and basically build your base and then get off the planet. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do something different. So to commit suicide, just hit the backspace key. And then you want to commit suicide, you just click yes. So now we need respawn ship 1 here, and we got about 30 seconds here. So there's a lot of different ships you can now respawn with. The respawn ship 1 right here is basically the old standard one that comes with the refinery, the cargo space in there. Respawn ship 2 and 3, I think they're smaller little guys. They're almost like an escape pod size, I believe. And then you can select like either a spacesuit, and then these are your planetary landers. And then you can have a drill ship too if you want to. But we're going to do respawn ship 2 here, and we're going to respawn on that. And we're going to be out in space now. And there's a little lag. So this is exactly where we needed to be. And we're going to save this really quick here. And call this spawn ship. Just in case if something happens, my computer crashes or my computer just turns off for some reason. We have that already. We have to start all over. So what we're going to do, there's actually asteroids out here. So you got to kind of, there's one right there. You kind of got to get far away from the planet. So what I'm going to do here, let's find out where the other planets are. We should see them off in the distance. I think that's the Mars planet right there by the sun and its moon. And then right there, if you can see it close to my craft, I believe that's the alien world, and I think it has 1 moon, just like the Earth has 1 moon. So I think, which direction should we head? Probably this way. We're going to turn our dampeners off so we don't use too much fuel. So basically what I'm going to do is just fly out pretty far. I just want to get quite a distance away from the planet. Probably where my body location would say 400 kilometers instead of about 200. So we'll try to get as far as we can on our oxygen level and our fuel level. Let's actually turn dampeners on here. We actually need to stop here. There's one thing I need to do before we head out. And I should have done this before I did this, and you guys should do this before you do this. I totally forgot here. I am wasting fuel here. It's not a big deal. We'll eventually take a pit stop somewhere and grab some fuel and whatnot. Alright, we need to actually get some extra oxygen here. Grab these oxygen tanks because this ride's going to be a little far here. I always hit the wrong key, F key here. And just grab a couple of these bottles, grab this water. I might as well just grab them all. And then grab a seat here. And then we'll be off on our way. Yeah, actually, we'll change our suit when we find a suitable spot here. So, I'm trying that. Yeah, the direction I'm going is probably good here. So I'll take dampeners off.
Ship fuel low.
So with dampeners off, we'll basically, once we get to speed we need to, we'll let go of throttle. And we'll basically just keep going at that speed drifting. With dampeners off, it basically means we'll counteract the acceleration and to basically just come to a halt. So with these procedural generated meteors or asteroids, they basically come either, I think, like a medium size to a small. I think they're mostly medium size, especially for the infinity settings, so everything's going to be optimized that way. So the downside is you won't get those ginormous asteroids like you would if you did the scenario with just asteroids, and then you spawn in. There's a setting for 7 asteroids or 3 asteroids or whatever instead of the infinity settings. Basically, you won't get those ginormous asteroids, because I think with the infinity settings, it doesn't matter what low density, medium density, or high density, they're all going to be generally the same size. And I think they do that just because to make them more optimized. So there's a way we can actually spawn in one of those asteroids, and I'll show you that later if we don't find a suitable one. Hopefully I'll find one of these little guys here to get a base in. And these asteroids are more optimized than those giant ones we're going to spawn in. So I'm probably going to head out for a bit here. Looks like we're going in a... That looks like a moon right there on that. Yeah, we're going to head out probably, like I said, till we get about 400 on our location. Actually, what's that Raven 2012 there? That's interesting. That's not our lander, is it? That's weird. I don't know what that is. So anyways, we're going to go quite a bit of distance. Either one of those markers will show about 400 kilometers, and that's far enough. And then we'll see you in a bit, guys. Alrighty guys, I'm still on my way out, but I did see something of interest here. There's a little thing that says beware of trespassing. That is basically a random spawn of some sort of pirate drone base, I think. So I may have to go further out. Hopefully they don't spot me, but what that does, if they detect me, or every so often, it will send out drones, and they'll actually try to look for my base. So I better be really careful with these guys here. I didn't think I was actually going to come across them, but there they are. So we can eventually take them out later on, and it's kind of like some sort of platform carrier type thing they spawn out of. But if you overtake it and get inside of it, there's quite a bit of good things you can get from the cargo bay. So that is actually something of interest. So we have only like 50 kilometers from where we need to be. I might have to go a little bit further so these guys don't keep trying to send out drones and try to detect my base. But that's actually a pretty good thing that we found. That's a good place to get some pretty good loot from. But we got to be really careful when the cargo ships come in and we actually hijack them, because I'm sure those guys will send out some probes out for us, and actually they can spawn in some fighters and they can probably take us out. So we better be really careful with those guys. So that's probably, I think that's part of the random encounter checkbox when you click it on. So I'm nearing, well, I'm going to be at 400 pretty soon. I may push it a little bit further. Keep these guys far out. Maybe just when that their icon disappears. Their icon should disappear. at a certain distance. I don't know the beacon, how far out it's going to disappear. So I kind of like that being part of the game. It's actually pretty interesting. Adds to a little bit more of the survivability of the game. Instead of just being out there by yourself, there's actually AI that can mess with you a little bit. So yeah, the planet's looking a little bit smaller, and the moon there is looking a little bit smaller. So yeah, I've been actually drifting probably almost half an hour at real world time. So I was actually considering starting to look for an asteroid cluster and then try to build around there, but that cluster right there is already occupied. So we're going to need to stop pretty soon and refill these oxygens and possibly get some fuel pretty soon. So that's what we're going to see towards the end of this episode. So we will see you back in a little bit, guys, here. Alrighty, guys, we're close to about 400 out. I'm gonna start looking for base here. That outpost, that radiant outpost, seems to be on my HUD here still. Oops, I need to get that straightened out here. Oh, I keep drifting here. I'm gonna check out this asteroid here. I saw this when I was coming out here. If anything, I can grab some uranium. I'm looking for a cluster of asteroids that are close together. I think there's a couple small ones near this. And this looks like a good size. We could put a base in there. Hopefully that radiant outpost is pretty good distance. Maybe we'll have to go a little bit further out. I'm thinking I don't want to go 500 out. That might be a little bit too much for us. But even so, that outpost, they still got quite a ways to go to us unless they have some sort of jump drives. I don't know how that works though. If they can jump short distances in system. But I'm sure you can. And I believe cargo ships should spawn around me, so even though I'm far out from where we started, they should still spawn in on us at a certain radius. So this looks like a pretty decent size. There is a little asteroid down here. There's one there, like a donut. So
ship fuel low.
If anything, we'll grab some supplies here and basically figure out what we're going to be doing. And there's another little asteroid. So this is kind of what I'm looking for, a cluster. If it wasn't for that radiant outpost, I probably definitely would build here. So I'm kind of a little worried. I don't know how this is going to go with those guys near. So hopefully I'll break in time. This actually looks like a pretty good, decent sized asteroid. This is actually kind of what I'm looking for. Let's bring her on over and have her take a look at it closer. And yeah, we're about almost 400 out, so we can't ask for anything more here. Gotta be careful not to throttle too much. And we'll probably end up having to hide our ship somewhere. I really don't like those guys near us. I think if we were farther off and their icon didn't show up, they wouldn't be near us where they would send ships looking for us. Because I really don't know. I've heard that they'll actually start trying to look for us. So I really like this, guys, here. So let's actually save this as, we'll just start base. And we'll check this out here. I don't remember if I saved. Yes, we did. My bad, guys, I'm just checking. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good size. Let's see how big this station block is going to be. Yeah, actually, this is going to work. This is going to work out perfectly for us. This is what I'm looking for. This is the asteroid I'm actually looking for. We can build a platform coming out here, and then have a little bit in the interior there. Just a little bit worried about the radiant outpost. Hopefully we'll be okay and we'll be far out. But the good thing is they're still on our HUD, so when we eventually get built up, we can actually go attack them and cause them some problems. So what's on this rock? I probably might not mine this rock because I want to keep this as our base. Yeah, this is a good size here. So we got plenty of these other rocks to mine from, so we'll basically just park her in here and we'll just go for mining here. So yeah, guys, we made it to where we're going to set up. Probably rotate this way. And we'll park her up in here, guys, and then we'll end the episode. So the next episode we'll head out and look for some supplies for our ship. Let's actually switch out our oxygen bottles here, because I think a couple, oh, we just only used one, only one got low, and they refill pretty fast, so we'll actually just leave one here. We don't need all those. So hydrogen, I don't think we'll use that, only I think when we're moving around a lot. So like if we're in a craft or something, we don't, guess we don't get as thirsty. So I'm going to park her in here just so if somebody tries looking for us, they won't find us.
Ship fuel critical.
Yes, I know. We got like 7 minutes of fuel.
Ship fuel critical.
And I'll probably actually end up using this
Ship fuel critical.
ship anyways to help us mine. So
Ship
it's kind of
fuel
virtually
Ship
useless to
fuel
park it in
low.
here for right now. But I think I need to go out. We're kind of really critical. I'll just go out on my own and then get some uranium and whatnot. And then once we get enough fuel, we'll actually take her out. When we feel confident enough, we'll have enough fuel.
Ship fuel low.
So I think we should be okay where they... Whoa. Sometimes that alt button does not stay. This should be good enough where they shouldn't be able to find us if they are looking for us. So alrighty, guys, that is the end of the first episode. So guys, if you like this, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe, and we'll definitely see you next time for the next episode of Space Engineers. Alright, guys, take care out there. Bye bye.